The cry of a baby is an act of joy in every home in Nigeria, just as it is in other parts of the world. It is generally accepted that a home without a child is incomplete. Family itself is defined as a group comprising parents and their children. This is why couples strive to produce children in order to complete the triad of man, woman, and their child. Without the child, marriage is imperfect, and this justifies why many couples desperately go about in search of solution to their predicament.
Infertility is inability of a woman or a couple they choose to tango, to conceive despite living together, having regular, adequate, penetrating, ejaculatory sexual intercourse for a period of 1 year at intervals of 3 times per week were spread out.
Infertility, in the simplest of terms, can be defined as the inability of a couple to achieve pregnancy despite regular, unprotected, vaginal sexual intercourse. So the sexual intercourse has to involve the penis and the vagina. It has to be penetrative, and if it's regular and despite that regularity, the couple are not able to achieve pregnancy after 12 months, then one can say that the couple is infertile.
Infertility simply means inability of a couple to achieve pregnancy within 1 year of normal, regular, unprotected sexual intercourse.
In typical African settings like Nigeria, much premium is placed on childbirth, which is widely believed to be the purpose of marriage. And this is why infertility is a major concern in any infertile marriage and a dominant feature in healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Infertility is a medical condition whereby a couple is unable to achieve pregnancy after 12 months of regular and unprotected sexual intercourse to have a successful childbirth. Infertility can be classified as primary or secondary. Primary infertility is a situation whereby a woman has never conceived nor carried to term a pregnancy or had a successful live birth. Whereas the more rampant secondary infertility refers to the situation whereby women who have conceived and had a child at some point in the past have not been able to conceive again, despite desire for conception.
Primary infertility means that the couple has never got pregnancy before, while secondary infertility, the couple has or the woman has pregnancy before, irrespective of the site, duration, or outcome of the pregnancy.
If you have never had any child before, that is a primary infertility. Now, if you are over 35, if you have been trying to conceive for 6 months and that is not coming forth, that is primary infertility for that over 35. Now, if you have had a child before and you are now trying to conceive another, then you are suffering from secondary infertility. You may have conceived before, you may have had a child, and you are still struggling to can also describe that as subfertility.
It has not been easy at all because I don't know what can cause it. The one that can conceive baby before and now someone is looking for it. So it has not been easy. I was thinking about it that how will I do it so that as women we will not want our husband to go out to take the second wife because of childbirth.
According to the World Health Organization in 2004, the prevalence of primary infertility in Nigeria is 5%, while that of secondary infertility is 8%. Infertility is a global reproductive health challenge, and it affects over 10% of the world population and 30% of the population in sub-Saharan Africa. No doubt, infertility is a serious and unbearable issue many couples in Nigeria cannot ignore. This explains why the need arises for sensitization and proper orientation in order to reduce infertility to the bare minimum. The general causes of infertility are very familiar. Infertility has been linked to environmental issues, occupation, genetics, and infectious diseases. Medically, infertility is attributable to sexually transmitted infections such as chlamydia, which can damage the fallopian tubes in the female and cause inflammation in a male's scrotum. Also, bad habits such as smoking and excessive consumption of alcohol could result in infertility. Causes of infertility vary from one part of the country to another. While late presentation of infertility, poor knowledge of infertility, unavailable and or inaccessibility to appropriate health services, prior unsuccessful medical interventions, traditional healers, poor coital exposure, polygamy, decreased libido of either partner or partners living apart are rampant causes of infertility in the northeast and northwest regions of Nigeria. Late marriage, record of abortion, among others, account for infertility in the southeast and southwest regions. The tubal factor is, however, the most common cause of infertility in Nigeria.
Common causes in the environment: tubal problem, ovulatory problems, hormonal imbalance, male factor. We are having more and more male factor compared with before.
There are primary causes of infertility and there are secondary causes of infertility. And we also have tubal factors and we have infections that can also lead to infertility.
When you talk about the causes of infertility, divided into three major causes. Infertility can be as a result of the male factor, could be as a result of the female factor, could be as a result of both male and female factors, and could be as a result of unknown cause. That is, 30% of infertility is being caused by a man, 30% of it is being caused by a woman, and 30% of it is by both of them causing it, and 10% is of unknown cause. The 10% that is of unknown cause, no matter what you investigate, you have not been able to say this is the cause of infertility.
we talk about infertility, not relation to the female or the woman alone, because majority and our culture look at this from the angle of the woman alone. But infertility is not just the woman. The man also may have problem of infertility, not just the woman. But in all, there are what we may call causes of this. One is age. 30 plus, 40 plus. If a female waits till that time, to maybe because of occupation or study and all this, and she decides to wait till after 30, there is that tendency. The risk is already there, or after 40. Likewise, a man after 50.
Males, it can be due to infections they sustained as children. Maybe they had mumps. In Igbo, we call it rampant. Or this swelling of the jaw. So if they have it in childhood, it can also affect the testes and can make them come down with infertility later in life. Then also some men that have undescended testes. Then also if some men that have had groin surgeries.
There are also several factors that can predispose a woman to barrenness. These include age, irregular or painful periods, previous infertility problems, record of pelvic inflammatory diseases, ovulation failure, treatment for cancer such as chemotherapy and miscarriage are identifiable female factors. And on the part of the men, low sperm count, previous record of infertility, hernia surgery, and testicular or sexual conditions can cause hindrance to procreation. Infertility is regarded as the most important reproductive health concern of Nigerian women. Estimations from demographic health surveys found an 11% prevalence rate. Across the country, hospital-based prevalence of infertility reported in some parts of Nigeria are 15.7% from Sokoto in the northwest, 23.9% from Bauchi in the northeast, 4% from Ilorin in the north central, 15.4% in Abakaliki in the southeast, 48.1% in Oshogbo in the southwest, and 3.4% in Calabar in the south-south. Although infertility is prevalent worldwide, affecting about 5 to 8% of couples, the ugly situation in Nigeria with 10 to 30% of affected couples is not only alarming but also worrisome. Well over 100,000 cases of infertility are recorded annually in Nigeria.
The prevalence is very, very high. Almost 2/3 of gynecological cases we are having in every gynecological, especially in the tropical region that is involving Nigeria, 2/3 of them. If it's not having to do with infertility, will be related. But definitely 1/3 of the cases in every gynecological clinic will be infertility. I think after having fibroid, which is even related to infertility, the next complaint you will have is infertility.
Infertility is actually a very prevalent condition in the environment, and it is one that is associated with a lot of stigma, psychological stress, and even can lead to marital disharmony. Generally speaking, infertility is said to affect about 15 to 20% of couples. But in some areas in sub-Saharan Africa, like in Nigeria, it can be as high as 30%. So it's a condition that is very prevalent.
Generally, let me take a global perspective here. In 2023, in the last quarter of 2023, the World Health Organization published a very unfortunate and extensive investigation that they have done over the years to the fact that infertility has increased considerably now. 1 in every 6 couples or adults suffers from infertility in one form or the other. It used to be that, and in Nigeria inclusive, 2.5% of couples who are trying to conceive, that is, 1 in about 12 people who are trying to conceive will have difficulty in conceiving. Now, in primary infertility, which I defined earlier, which I talked about earlier, that was about 12.5. So if you add the two together, that would be about 1 in 8, 1 in 7. Now, that has increased. So 1 in every 6 of people who wants to have a child can no longer have it or are struggling to have it now across the world, including Nigeria. We are not different from the rest of the world.
Effects of infertility on family and society are numerous, and these vary from one culture or region to another. Women are mostly affected by the undesirable status of being infertile. Shame, embarrassment, violence, divorce, social stigma, emotional stress, low self-esteem, depression, and anxiety are visited upon women who are infertile in many cultures in Nigeria. In the South region of Nigeria, barren women in some Ijaw societies like Amakiri cannot attain full womanhood and join appropriate age associations since they cannot be circumcised without having given birth. A woman who is not circumcised cannot be buried within the town. Rather, their corpses are buried in a designated forest. Among the Igbo tribe of the southeast, back in the days, women without sons are not considered bona fide members of the husband's family, let alone barren women. In Igbo land, a barren woman is considered non-existent and isolated, and her barrenness could be attributed to punishment by the ancestral deities. Among the Yoruba of the Southwest, a barren woman is considered incomplete and stands the risk of not being listened to. Among her peers, she becomes a subject of ridicule and in religious circle as well. Her barrenness could be seen as some sort of punishment for sin committed in the past. The situation in the north isn't better. In the northeast, many barren women are neglected and pushed out of their husband's home, while in the northwest, there have been incidents of the childless woman being made to feel inferior, abused, or even tortured by her husband's family. Among the Gede people in the north central, the situation is so bad to the extent that barren women find it difficult to appear in public as they suffer a lot from finger pointing by others who mock them for not having children.
Most of the belief of our people in the north here is that many people believe that inability to conceive, they related it to the God, because it's the God that decide to give or not to give.
Everything about the family in Igbo land is about procreation. So when a man gets married and he is unable to, his wife, both him and his wife, they are unable to produce children, it becomes a very catastrophic situation So they will never know peace. And to buttress the fact, they give people names like Afamefuna, you know, like what that means is, may my name never get lost, or Amechina, may my compound never get shut down.
Traditionally, in most African families, when there is the issue of infertility, we always believe it's usually the fault of the woman. And so most times the men will not want to be involved in finding solution. So usually the woman is left alone to find the solution.
The cultural belief is when there is a case of infertility, our culture, especially Yoruba, they will face the woman. The woman is always the scapegoat. The woman is always the one seen as the cause. But they fail to understand that good number of times the man too may be responsible for that.
The faults may not come from the woman. It may be their fault. Because, as for example now, from my own experience, I did every test. HSG, medical tracking, everything. The only test they asked my husband to do, which is semen analysis, he refused to do it. He said he did not have any problem. He has been doing well. I should go and take care of myself. Can you imagine?
And another thing is poverty. That if you are poor, you got only want. Your father did not pay any money to deliver you. So don't go and pay money to say you're having a child. Are you going to buy that child?
Religious organization has not largely helped matters in fertility treatment. They encourage, unfortunately, delays, which could be very detrimental, especially to women.
The treatment given to the infertile woman has been gory everywhere in Nigeria. But thankfully, due to mass awareness, the situation has reduced significantly as more and more people become aware that barrenness is not entirely a woman's problem and infertility is a treatable condition.
There are primary causes of infertility and there are secondary causes of infertility. And we also have tuber factors and we have infections that can also lead to infertility. So as I've categorized them, there are treatments that are given to each causes of this infertility.
Treatment of infertility ranges from clinical treatment to surgical intervention, surgical treatment. Medical treatment ranges for treating the known factor like diabetics, like infections, sexually transmitted infection, urinary tract infection, and all those sort of things. We will treat medically using common drugs, antibiotics.
If it's due to ovulation problems, you can drugs that you can give to take care of that, depending on what is causing the ovulation problem. There are drugs you can give that will cause ovulation and they can get pregnant.
We can also address surgically. Surgically, in the past we used to do an open surgery. If the drugs have not worked, we can take a wedge of the ovary, it will stimulate. Or these days we use minimal access surgery to drill such that you don't need to open up. We call it minimal access surgery or pinhole surgeries. So this can be done for ovarian problem. Then for tuber problem, actually this is where we have the bulk of the problem, major issue. If both tubes are blocked, there are two tubes in the woman. If both of them are blocked, two options. One, tuber surgery. Tuber surgery to try and see whether we can re-establish the patency.
However, in those who could not get pregnancy despite the treatment, or in which the cause is not identified, other form of treatment like assisted reproductive technology can also be offered to them, like artificial insemination, in which the sperm can be placed into the woman's womb, and especially during ovulation, and subsequently mate with the ovum or with a female egg, and subsequently pregnancy can occur. Or in other way, in vitro fertilization can also be offered.
Much has been said about the nature and effect of infertility and the life of those affected. And this is why the public must be wary and conscious of their lifestyle, as it is considered a major contributor to infertility. A woman who has experienced abortion in the past may encounter a situation in the future where she finds it difficult to conceive, and this is why abortion is greatly discouraged. Also, indecent habits such as smoking and indulgence in alcohol can diminish the health of people, thereby reducing their chances of conception and bearing children. It has been confirmed that a man's testosterone can be affected by both smoking and drug. To guard against this, medics always advise against indiscriminate use of drugs, as this could adversely affect procreation in the future.
The human nature, biology nature does not like contamination. That's fundamental enough. Any contamination, chemical contamination, infectious contamination, deficiency contamination in food, biology does not like it, life does not like it.
Whatever you cannot eat, don't apply on your body. Some of the so-called body cream and all this, they also have their side effect because they go directly, they go into the bloodstream and affect the bloodstream and can bring about infertility.
Every cloud has a silver lining. Despite all these challenges, abuse and pains associated with infertility, the silver lining today is that there are many options available to couples and especially women who are looking forward to motherhood. Although some resort to religion and herbalists for solution, it is obvious that these solutions are too inadequate to put a smile on the face of intending fathers and mothers. While those who resort to religion believe that there could be a spiritual undertone for their childlessness and that prayers and sacrifice could help wash away sins of the past or appease ancestral deities. Those who patronize herbalists believe that the use of herbs and other traditional means of enhancing fertility and procreation are reliable.
All these religious things are methods they try to adopt to try to solve the issue of infertility. Then sometimes they can combine this with seeking for medical help.
Nowadays, people believe majorly in religion, and they believe that traditional is that let me go to my pastor, let my pastor pray for me, it will be solved.
Women, including their husband or partner anyway, will do anything, will go any length, particularly herbs. In traditional form, they will look for herbs to address one form of infertility or fertility challenges.
The use of traditional medicine, though relatively effective, is not without its own limitations and fears. It is believed that herbal medicine can cause severe harm to the body, including damage to the liver. All the same, herbs in the treatment of infertility remain a popular option among Nigerians because they are a lot cheaper than the medical options.
We have a lot of plants around us. There's the one we call Ewe Abiwere, there's one we call Jokoje, and many others like that.
The use of herbs, either by drinking it, by the common one they call a sage leaf, and all those sort of things. They drink the agbo they rub the chemicals on their body. The most terrible thing which should be discouraged is the one they insert into the woman private part.
Emphasis in my region, Igula. So sometimes they take herbs and well, it has not really been documented in the literature what such herbs contain and whether they can work. Sometimes you cannot also attribute the fact that maybe the fact that somebody took the herb and got pregnant. You may not be able to link it scientifically to that herb.
I will cite an example. There are people in our really traditional life, one cannot dispense with cultural values, cultural beliefs. Now, there are people who go to traditional practitioners for herbs. To some, it may work if they understand that the biology, how the system works.
The medical treatment of infertility is, however, becoming more and more popular. Medical treatments have improved the chances of getting pregnant. Various methods of treating infertility include artificial insemination, assisted reproductive technology, ovulation induction, and IVF. Other available options are hormonal treatments, prescription of fertility drugs, and surgery. In addition, assisted reproduction uses various medical techniques to fertilize an egg. As effective as these options are, medics bemoan the high cost of the medical options and wish they could be more affordable.
Particularly when you talk of IVF drugs, that are very expensive. And with the way dollar is these days now, it's even much more expensive. So government can come in either by subsidizing or reducing the tariff on them or subsidizing these drugs.
The issue is highly demanding actually, especially if it involves the use of assisted reproductive technology, which are not readily available in our government facility. So what I think government should do, should provide more of this different form of assisted reproductive technology in our government hospital in a subsidized rate.
To start with, we need insurance. Infertility can affect anybody, and you should generally insure your life anyway, insure your health. That's the first duty you owe to yourself. You need to state with your insurer that you would like to insure as much as possible. Some of them don't cover, some of them will cover to some extent. So that lessens the burden. Government can also help in the sense that subsidies for facilities and centers, both government and private, that engages in fertility treatment.
Today, many couples, and especially women in Nigeria, now have cause to celebrate.
It was a good experience. It was after a year I had my first after my marriage. So I was happy the moment I saw my baby in the labor room.
Those people that are trying to conceive should be prayerful and be doing good deeds. They should not lose hope. Like, delay is not denial, and God's time is the best. May God grant us all good children.
Though I waited for 2 years before getting pregnant, and when I conceived, I was happy. I know God did it because it wasn't an easy ride.
Inú mi dùn láti wà ní ipò tí mo wà yìí. kò ní ipò lóyún ló jẹ́ pé Ọlọ́run ló ń ṣe agbára ò ṣeé ṣe Ọlọ́run nìkan ló ń ṣe.
It's amazing being pregnant. This is my first pregnancy and I can say with all confidence that the joy is overwhelming. I remember, when I found out that I was pregnant and I told my husband about it, it was like the best news ever. So it's really good. And I just want to encourage other women out there that are looking for the fruit of the womb that don't give up. Your time will come. Your miracle will come. But first you have to believe. That's how it works. You have to believe that you will have it, and with time yours will come.
I want to advise those of them that are still expecting that they shouldn't give up. It's God will answer them when they least expect, and it can come at any time. So they shouldn't give up. They shouldn't be discouraged. And for those that are pregnant, it's not really easy, but it is easy with God. So it's just for us to, keep eating very well, sleeping very well, take our multivitamins, just do what you're supposed to do according to what the hospital said. And for those that have given birth, take care of the baby.
As more and more couples deliver babies through the available options, there is need to improve facilities for managing infertility, as well as provide updated facilities for fertility-related procedures and artificial reproductive techniques at affordable cost.
My advice to women is they should accept it early, because the success of that IVF also dependent on the age of the woman. The success, I was quoting a figure for women below 35 years. For those who are more than 35, the success is less. But we know this statistical thing now. It doesn't mean that every woman that is more than 35 you can never achieve. No, I have known women that are over 50. Their first attempt of IVF and they were successful. So also we have known women below 35. They have tried once, 2 times, and they have not been successful. So there are a lot of factors involved. But what is important is that they should move on to the next stage early rather than delaying if it is recommended. It's expensive, but for now, that is what we have.
The government should at least identify this infertility as a public health problem that is capable of affecting the health and well-being of its citizens, and look for ways to, even if it's one government fertility center per region. In the 6 regions of Nigeria, for example, each region we have a fertility center that is fully funded and equipped by the government, and then the care is subsidized so that infertile couples in those regions can access quality and affordable care.
The only barren woman in the Bible is Micah. She was given the opportunity, the wife of David and the daughter of Saul. So if there's only one person as voluminous as the Bible is, then there's hope for the Christians. And the Muslims too should look into it, that there's hope for them. The tradition people too should look at it, there's hope for them. And another thing is to look at it that way is that when you are coming to this world, what is your purpose of coming? Have you fulfilled it? Then people should look at my reason of coming. He said, you will give account of what you have come to this world to do. Have you come to this world to rear children or to give back to children? Have you been fulfilled? Have you done your purpose, your duty on earth? So these are things you should look at for.
My advice to infertile couple should go to the hospital and see doctor, preferably gynecologist, where detailed history will be taken, thorough examination will also be done, and relevant investigation will be done, so that the exact cause of that infertility can be identified, and subsequent and appropriate management to their condition will be offered to them.
Abraham was 95 while Sarah was 90. So God does not deal with age, but he deals with time. And the appropriate time, God will give them their own child. So I advise them that they should not lose hope.
My last advice would be that family that may be experiencing that should not hate herbal medicine. They should not ignore that side. As much as Western medicine is good, so herbal medicine is good. And as much as some may be pointing some accusing figure or some point negative in herbal medicine, so also in the Western medicine. The only thing I would say, they should seek for attention from reputable herbal practitioner.
I will advise man that they should not put all the blame on wife. The fault may not even come from the woman. It may come from the man. Trust in God, and if they come to hospital, any tests they advise them to do, the man should try it, because in these days they always put all the blame on women.
Don't give up. Seek help as quickly as possible. Don't delay. Yes, keep your religion. You can have your religion, you can have your culture, you can have your beliefs. God gave doctors, physicians, nurses the knowledge. If God didn't want us to use it, He will not give it to us. Give us the knowledge to help. So make use of this help that is available. And then, okay, you put yourself in the position in which you can help yourself. If you are obese, get into exercise. Eat naturally, as clean food, as natural food as possible. Also, stop smoking if you are smoking. Stop alcohol if you take alcohol. Be careful what goes into your mouth and to your body. For women, body spray, hair spray, body lotions, paint, that you don't even know the origin, the chemicals that are in them, will interfere with your hormones, potentially interfere with your hormones and kill off the eggs. Similarly, for men, alcohol and obesity, hitting the testes where the sperm is being made with hot water, with computer, with phones, with crossing your legs, all sorts of things, driving for too long, all of this can cause low sperm count or no sperm at all. So it is important to take accountability, take responsibility for your own fertility and generally health care. And therefore, if it is not working after a little while, as we have spoken, then you should see the doctor as soon as possible.
At the face of costly fertility procedures, many begin to wonder what the future holds for them and what improved, more effective, and affordable option the medical world could provide in future. But until then, it is believed that the existing options are robust enough for intending parents to exploit for their desire to make babies.